that have made us good all year long. An intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game. So that makes it personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes to me. 60 minutes. No business, no mercy. Nothing but stop on the shot bubble. You got me. We're going to ring the bell. We're going to ring that championship bell. Ding, motherfucking dog.
Here comes the pressure. Penix fires over the middle, and it is intercepted. Mikey Sanders going the other way.
The legend of Mike Sanders continues to grow.
JJ takes the snap, flips the ball to Roman Wilson after he takes a knee, and Michigan, the Wolverines, have won a national championship.
First and goal. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
This was the Andy Reid special we talked about. He was saving all day. He's going to fake a motion to go across. And at that moment, he turns and goes back Hardman, who they didn't have, right?
On this touchdown throw to Mecole Hardman, who started the season as a Jet.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
Last week we said in the locker room, nobody but the guys in that locker room knew how good this group can be. Now the whole damn country knows.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle Up Podcast. We are back on our normal night, and we shouldn't have to make any more programming changes for the rest of the football season. That is the plan. But we will obviously see if anything changes and keep you posted on those. But welcome back. We hope you are joining us live. If you are, interact with us in the comments. Make sure you give it a like and a share. We would certainly appreciate that. You can subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms. You can get us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. We're also on TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are on Twitch as well, where we stream live over at Huddle Up Inc. on there. So make sure you grab the show and follow along with us and interact with us wherever you can. Make sure you are getting your Huddle Up merchandise over at tpublic.com. And we have a few new designs over there. So make sure you hop in and check those out. But certainly appreciate that. And let's go around the room here with the cast of characters. I think Sean's camera may be on, or there we are.
You got to work finally.
Sean, are we here? Are we live?
I think so. I'm trying to get my mic to be the right one, but not real sure otherwise. I'm having some connectivity issues on the computer front, so we're on the phone, but we're making it, and we're going to try to get it fixed for you from down here in Tampa Bay, Hurricane Central right now. So
I was going to say, I think there's plenty going on.
Yeah, we got a lot happening
in West Florida this evening, but hope you're glad to see you are doing well. Matt, welcome back after a few weeks on the road. How we doing?
Doing well. Good football weekend for me. Both teams won. Phillies clinched the East, and now I'm just laughing at the Mets losing their playoff hopes. Seeing those.
Oh man, that's such a bummer. That's a real shame.
But at least DJ has the Rangers. Apparently, I know he was crowing.
All right, we're in
a preseason
allegedly
the other day. So that shows you how much of a hockey fan he is. That.
Yes, this will be his last hockey tweets until next preseason. Speaking of Eagles, Jaworski, how we doing, EJ?
That stupid name, I swear.
You're welcome, by the way.
I can curse now, right?
Yeah, we're on the curse.
You, Sean. so much I bought a shirt.
Right, like it's still, you've had the Tool Time shirt on there for 3 years and you're yet to buy one.
Yeah,
it just takes us actually really making fun of you for you to buy merch.
I love when a slacker comes after 2 weeks and starts talking shit already.
Good job on Matt.
EJ, you left the show to live chat a presidential debate.
And
then I logged on there 2 times and you were talking about sports. So I don't want to hear you giving Matt shit for going on a work trip.
Yeah. Secondly, it's for work, EJ. So if you start paying me to be on the podcast, I will certainly take that the priority over.
That's true. No, I get it. Still giving you shit though.
Shut your ass.
Because Matt.
Mikey B, how we doing?
I'm just here to breathe in some championship pedigree.
Some of the Bengals don't have right now, apparently. Jesus Christ, what's going on in Cincinnati?
Something that the Kansas City Chiefs imaginally have because someone gave a shit about what they did 2 years ago.
That's right.
That's all that matters.
Only thing that matters.
Joe checking in with preseason games are a must-win, Matt. Don't forget.
That's right.
True.
Season's over. They lost the first one.
Devin apologized for showing up late. That's okay. I think you still beat EJ in the door, so that's what's always important.
It's a standard, buddy.
Student of the game.
We get it, Devin.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash has some business. He will be on a little bit later. And I think another one of Sean's students checked in with us. So good evening to all who are following along live. We certainly do appreciate that. All right, let's get it going here while looking back at the weekend that was. All right, as we do each and every week, we look back and find out what we learned from this past weekend. So, Mikey B, we'll start with you. What did you learn this weekend?
That nobody can definitively tell me what is pass interference. The refs don't know. Teams don't know. Eagles Jaworski definitely doesn't know. He thinks that's championship pedigree. What is pass interference?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure we're going to continue to question it as the year goes on. At least for some teams, referees really don't know what it is. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a broader conversation, not just pass interference, but and we talk about it every year. The execution of penalties and when things are called, when are they not called. How are things enforced, even within individual games? It's been an ongoing problem in this league. I mean, in other sports as well. I mean, the baseball umpires and balls and strikes and all of that is just is laughable at best. But
I will say the last 2 weeks watching Bengal games, and obviously I sat here on this show last week and acknowledged the fact that the fourth and forever was pass interference. He was obviously there early, but he was playing the football. Last night, that I don't know why they didn't call that on the T. Higgins 2-point conversion attempt.
Yeah,
I don't know that I'll ever get that definitive answer. And then Sunday night in Atlanta, I don't even remember who it was from the Chiefs, basically tackling Kyle Pitts on 3rd and goal.
I think
not
Pitts
even
needed a hug. I think I heard when we made the cutback route. He goes, "I need a hug," and there was
he found it. Yeah, he found the hug. So at the end of the day, it's acknowledging when it's wrong and when it's the right call, like I did last Sunday when the Bengals lost because of the penalty. But then watching the referees just blatantly miss 2 really bad ones on prime time. It wasn't like these games were. It wasn't like these are 1:00 games where you have, Jets fans or Panthers fans that are upset about a pass interference call. This is supposed to be the brightest stage that you have to show the game of football, and you blatantly just can't figure it out. It's a problem.
Yeah. It's and again, it's execution. The execution of enforcement, when it's enforced, who it's enforced on, is baffling. Sometimes some would call it coincidental, but guys, any other thoughts from the panel on the enforcement of calls so far this year?
It's par for the course for the Chiefs, anyway.
Standard.
Right.
I mean, it's not a good look. I don't know if you want to say, you got to come across as a league and say, like, either these guys are going to be allowed to play and they're going to be allowed to jab, and they're going to be allowed to, make plays on the ball, sometimes on the receiver, and we're going to give a little bit, or everything's a penalty, and then you got to stick to it. And I don't care if it's Pat Mahomes throwing it. I don't care if it's Andrew Dalton throwing it. Like, whoever's throwing the pass, if that receiver is messed with. And personally, if you're going one way or the other, I would much rather see them let them play. I don't think it should go quite as much as, throwing a shoulder block into somebody trying to make a catch in the end zone. But, maybe there's a happy medium somewhere. But, I'd hate to see them go, we'll call everything and just kind of, let the flags decide everything. I don't know if I'd agree with that, but there's got to be some kind of standardization or, a midweek training. Get all the officials to Indianapolis. Let's just try this again. But something's got to give.
Yeah. It's my thing has always been, if you're gonna call a game tight and you're gonna call just about everything, then call it that way on both sides for all 4 quarters, all 9 innings, all 3 periods, whatever. EJ, a period is what they have in hockey. I didn't know if you knew that. But
DJ's familiar with periods.
You can't call it one way for one team, one way for another. Something that should be a penalty that is a penalty in the first quarter, should not be not a penalty in the fourth, and so on and so forth. And there's going to be mistakes made, but when it seems to be ongoing, repeated for certain teams in certain situations, that's when a lot of people call things into question. Joe says, for all the conspiracy theorists believe the NFL has a script,
that's so true.
Anything to dispel that. You're not wrong. Speaking up in the comments here of script writers, Devin says, what I learned this week is whoever is writing the NFL script hate the Miami Dolphins.
Damn. That's tragic, man.
So, they must actually be Dolphin fans if they hate the Dolphins then. EJ, what did you learn this week?
What I learned is, and no one's talking about this, really, be honest with you, but what I learned in the last 2 weeks, honestly, is that I think the Green Bay Packers are going to be a massive problem once Jordan Love is back. This team is better than I thought they were. Like, what they're doing, and granted, I know the 2 wins are against lesser teams, the Colts, the Titans, we get all that. But what they're doing, the weapons around Malik Willis, and being able to elevate that roster right now. I think when we get to December and January, I'm starting to believe this team's going to be an NFC title game. Honestly, the talent. I don't care. The talent around that team. Yes, that's right. Start up early. I think the talent that team, dude. I think that they're going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC.
So
I think I've seen enough
at this point.
I know, Matt. Welcome back, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, the Vikings are 3-0. Are they gonna? Is that who they're playing? Because they're 3-0.
We will know. Well, I see we'll know more this Sunday because they play.
We got to learn
obviously.
more. We got to see more.
But
right?
I know that
team of last week.
I'm just saying that roster is much better than I thought it was.
There were also the sprinkled in like EJ safe fail words that he can come back to. I said, if it allegedly once Jordan Love comes back,
it took you 4 years to figure me out, man.
Possibly, potentially make them a scary team.
Malik Willis.
I said they might make the NFC title game. I didn't say they would make the NFC title game.
Malik Willis beat the mayonnaise messiah in a revenge game, and he's sitting here talking about crowning him.
I'm not crowning anything. I'm
calm
saying
down, Daddy Green.
The whole point of my soliloquy there is that their roster around Malik Willis, who's not a good quarterback for the record, I think is much better than I thought it was. And when they get Jordan Love back,
are we sure that he's not a good quarterback? He played for the Titans. He's on a team.
I don't think
I'm not sold Malik Willis, dude.
I don't think anybody is going to deny that the Packers have talent on their team. They first off, they almost went to the NFC title game last year. And they did things.
They beat the Cowboys. That's not.
No, they were in that game against the Niners deep into the third.
They got hot last year. I was still kind of skeptical because that team, half the year they looked mid, and they got hot late in the year.
The win over the Titans with Malik Willis is what did it for you.
No, it's less about. It's less about. It's less about Malik Willis. It's more about what I've seen last 2 weeks and how that team around elevated. That's all I'm saying.
I like how he prefaced it to it. no one's really talking about this.
Oh, well.
Because it's week 3.
No one,
Right,
and
exactly.
They beat 2 shitty teams.
Well, I'm gonna talk about it now. So there you go.
They got games against Minnesota
this weekend,
Houston, Detroit.
More on that later.
We have some bigger games coming up. We'll also see if how Jordan Love can do. And here's the thing too. I mean, obviously Jordan Love came on strong late last year. Looked good against the Cowboys in the playoffs, but what offense isn't looking good against the Cowboys right now?
Yeah.
And then they struggled a bit, made some mistakes at times against the Niners in that playoff game. So they're a talented team. That's where I will agree with you. I will not say anything about how deep into the postseason the Green Bay Packers can go after week 3, because that's absurd.
They are a really good defense.
They are a good defense. I will give them that. Joe says you might even say they could be a frisky team.
I'm thinking more than frisky at this point.
All right, Matt, what did you learn this past weekend?
I learned that Nick Sirianni still is just more concerned with being the smartest guy in the room than actually coaching to win the games. There's been 2 weeks in a row now where it's clear and concise what you need to do, and instead he tries to fool everyone so he can look like a genius to the ownership, to the GM, to the fans. I don't know who he's trying to prove this to at this point, but cost them the game against Atlanta. It almost cost them the game against New Orleans. And he just needs to finally get out of his own way at this point, or else we'll probably see similar results as last season.
Yeah, it was kind of a wild thing to watch with Philly on Sunday, and kind of seeing the struggle, the battle between coach and OC a little bit in some of those tight moments, and just some of the questionable decisions of, does analytics tell you we should kick here? Apparently, did Jake Elliott piss in Nick Sirianni's Cheerios or something?
Yes.
I'm not sure what the dynamic is there between kicker and coach, but a lot of some definite questionable.
If he just takes the field goal in Atlanta early on, they win that game. If he kicks the obvious field goals multiple this Sunday, they win against the Saints pretty easily. Instead, they needed a miracle comeback and a strong hell of a defensive effort just to overcome all of that.
Yeah.
Let me ask the Eagle fans on the panel here, not name me, of course. You two, how do you guys feel about Sirianni overall? How do you feel Sirianni overall?
Well, if you hadn't asked this question 2 days ago and Sunday, we wouldn't have to rehash this.
Well, let's say this for content. We do it with content now.
Do we?
Yes.
I feel like we've already talked about this. My views on Sirianni are that what I just said, he needs to just get out of his own way. Do I think he should be on the hot seat? No. At this point in the season, no. If they have another collapse where it's evident that coaching played a role in why they were losing these games, then I think it's a fair conversation to have. And Philadelphia is a franchise that's not afraid to move off of more successful coaches if things turn sour quickly, and they are starting to turn sour for Nick.
Sean?
Well, I mean, I would. Is the mic working? Am I hot? We good?
You're good.
We got you.
Yeah, I would say, a good word might be skeptical. I think we've seen him at his best as kind of a motivator. Using the tools that he kind of inherited and that he put together, and kind of building this sense of team and excitement. And now we're past that. It's collapsed a little bit. Now you're asking him, he's going to have to do some work, and it's going to be a lot of X's and O's, and it's he's obviously put some new coordinators in place. And I was kind of thinking today earlier, I'm like, could some of it be the Kellen Moore scheme? Could some of the Hurts problems be a new system? Not to mention being asked to do a lot of the audible line of scrimmage stuff that Kelsey used to take care of. There's a lot on Hurts's plate. And I think on Sunday, a lot of times it was hard to kind of, when things were struggling offensively, it was hard to tell. Is this a Nick Sirianni problem, or is this a Jalen Hurts problem? And a lot of times at the end of the drive, I just went, yes, it is. Both of them. And it's, do I know that it's a permanent problem? No. Do I think Sirianni can get that locker room, back in shape? I do, and I hope he does. But if you start a slide anywhere similar to the slide we went on last year, things are going to collapse real quick.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're on it, and that schedule's not exactly friendly, the whole way through. So you're going to have some stumbling blocks, and you got to make sure that team understands, like, hey, we lost to a good team today. Let's beat the next one, and just kind of hope for the best. But the good news is it doesn't look like the NFC East is going to shape up quite the way anybody thought anyway. So you might have some more room for error than we had thought, as long as Jaden Daniels doesn't have too much to say about it.
Yeah, I think that win against New Orleans was huge win. I think if they lost that game, I think the Sirianni fucking chatter goes fucking up a massive notch. So
Yeah,
I mean, it didn't stop.
Well, someone
even
named
with the
Dallas
win.
had to do something us this weekend. So
right.
I mean, the chatter, I think, is just as loud because they only scored 14 against them. I don't know that and if the chatter gets louder because you lose to a team who's 3-0,
but it's because he's directly the reason why they lose. The decisions he made directly affected, like, especially six days apart from what happened in the Atlanta game and into the New Orleans game. But
so here's the thing. Head coaches directly affect every decision that teams make.
Well,
I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes they get them right, sometimes they get them wrong. Here's the deal. Zach Taylor, perfect example last night, hit the nail on the head. But I've also watched Man Campbell go for it on 4th and 4 and run it with David Montgomery and only get 2 yards. But guess what? We're still sitting here talking about how good of a motivator and how good of a coach Man Campbell is.
Because go ahead, finish.
At the end of the day, Man Campbell gets his guys to play at a certain level. I get it. It's what he is. He's a psychopath. It is what it is. Nick Sirianni's decision-making has been questioned. I get it. But at the end of the day, he still has the offensive pieces around them to make them better. They kept a team that has scored 88 points, what it feels like the last 2 weeks, to 13.
91, yeah.
Home?
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it.
So
Going forward, they have a defense to rival Detroit right now, and so that's going to bail out some
Absolutely.
of those decisions.
I'm the one saying that I don't think the hot seat should be warranted in the first place, personally. But that's not the reality. That's out there. Even fucking Matt tweets about it all the time on Twitter.
Well, good, Charles. I'm glad to have you on board.
We're in a reactionary league, and social media certainly is going to amplify that to the nth degree. And I mean, I can argue with dumbass Philly fans until I'm red in the face on Twitter. It's not going to change anything. I think ownership of the Eagles is at least smart enough to tune out that noise, just like a lot of people are smart enough to tune out that noise. Marcus Freeman being one of those that says, I'm not going to listen to what the fans are saying. I'm going to do what's best for the program.
Right.
But we've also seen the Philadelphia ownership move on from Doug Peterson shortly after a Super Bowl victory. I don't think that it's unheard of to question if the Eagles would move on quickly.
I think the Dan Campbell comparison is warranted, but I think the Dan Campbell in comparison is still a little bit of a honeymoon phase with Detroit. Whereas Sirianni, I think we're past that now.
Apparently not. I mean, he had to move because he was being
threatened him, and he had to move. What the hell are you talking about? A honeymoon phase?
I mean,
the honeymoon
overall
ended week 2.
No.
The honeymoon phase started to end with some poor coaching decisions in last year's NFC title game. They said that earlier this year.
They said that the address they found the address from his daughter's classmate. I think it was that leaked the address.
I don't care what reason it is.
Wait, hold on. A Detroit Lion fan put out
imagine like years ago telling
people
Detroit Lions fans that someone was going to get mad enough that, like, now keep in mind you're losing a playoff game after already winning playoff games. Right. And like
you won the division, you won playoff
you win a division,
you go on the road and lose the NFC title game.
Win a playoff game, and then Detroit fans are going to be upset enough after a playoff loss to send people to find out where the coach lives. I don't think anybody would have believed you for a second.
No.
But,
Joe says he learned that he wants Notre Dame to play on the road every week, given how they played at home. That's not wrong.
It's not a bad take.
That is not wrong at all.
I I was frustrated, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that, but they played fine. I mean, they were 27.5-point favorites. They won by 25.
Yeah.
They took long to wake up, but they woke up. They won handily enough.
They got that road trip Riz, road trip Riz.
Yeah, it's yes. Did we envision the first 4 games of this season to look a little bit differently than they have? Sure. But if you were going to tell me that we'd win in Texas A&M, that we'd score 66 points in a win week 3, and we'd about cover a 27-point spread at home in week 4. I would take those. Obviously, the Northern Illinois loss, super bad. Nobody's ever going to defend that. It shouldn't try to be defended. You didn't show up. You probably got way too cocky, and you got humbled that day. Awesome. Now, the trick is you don't fall into that same trap. And because of the 12-team playoff, everything's still in front of you. You're going to be fine. You're 16th. You're playing number 15 this weekend. It's going to be okay. You win out, you're going to be just fine. Let's see. Jason here says, Dallas sucks. Somebody going to be fired when they lose to the Giants, and they should. Niners are in trouble with injuries. The Chiefs is safe to say a bad 3-0 team. At least somebody else sees it. Sean, what did you learn this past weekend?
Well, I don't know if I learned it or was just reminded, but they always tell you that a win is a win. Winning heals everything. But to say that a win is a win and that's good enough, I feel like the Eagles this weekend reminded me that that's not always the case. I feel like like we've kind of alluded to, so we don't need to harp on it too long. There's a lot of problems at play there, and to just be like, well, we won the game, let's move on to the net. Like, if you're not addressing some of the things that happen. Now, do I think you can turn some positive praise and praise Fangio and the defense? Absolutely. I think that defense played lights out. And I was really concerned that despite everything they had done, that a terrible penalty by an offensive lineman shoving Darius Slay into a bench was going to, I thought there was a chance that was going to cost us a game. As soon as he wasn't on Olave, there was nothing that we could do to stop him. And, it shows that, the right pieces might be in place, but it might remind you need a contingency plan. There's a lot of positives that went on. Dallas Goedert woke up primarily out of necessity, but, maybe that's a fire to kind of build on. But, I mean, if there's one thing I can tell you going forward is that if you're panicking or things aren't working, it sure looks like if you give Saquon Barkley 20 to 25 carries a game, you're going to be in a pretty good spot at the end of the fourth quarter. And so they can't go back. Week 2, I think we kind of got away from that against Atlanta and just kind of, I don't know, took it for granted that Saquon, could really carry an offense every drive if you need him to. I think they need to make sure he's involved and durability, whatever. You paid him a ton of money. Obviously, you think he's durable enough. You need to get him the ball.
Damn straight.
Yeah. The
Run the damn ball. I mean, that's what we always say for Notre Dame.
Run the dang ball, Bert.
I mean, I would take a bad win at this point. I don't know.
I'll take a bad one.
I would gladly take a bad win. I'd love to know what that looks like at this point. But
she's had 3 bad wins, right?
Well, you're in luck because it looks like if you're the way you're playing, if you do win, it's probably going to be a bad one. So
yeah, no, that
might get
accurate.
your wish.
That is accurate. Maybe as soon as Thursday, but I have my doubts. But
yeah, you might.
The thing I learned this past week, and it's been a lot of time in the college game, and I don't know that there was a ton to learn this past weekend. Not the greatest slate of college games, but I might as well. I'll hit the button so you guys don't have to beat me to it.
Marge,
Michigan should probably their offense should probably just revolve around Khalil Mullins. That's probably would be a good plan for them. I know Matt said run the damn ball. It was a good plan against the USC Trojans. Always a good Saturday when you see USC lose.
The one time I'll root for Michigan.
There you
go. I was just going to ask you that. Who'd you root for again?
Well,
if you would have listened
is
to last
number one hated team for sure.
If you have paid attention to last week's picks, EJ, you would have known that.
Matt went 1-7 in college last week. His one Michigan.
But he averaged almost 9. I think it was 9.4 yards per carry, including a play in the fourth quarter where he drug a USC tackler about 10 yards. So yeah, maybe they should just think about just giving him the ball every time. Joe says
that is the true answer, but unfortunately, one of those teams.
But in a world where college football does not allow for a tie, the answer is USC.
I mean, technically, for Notre Dame's sake, they should have probably rooted for USC to win just to help our future strength of schedule. But I mean, people are going to trash the Notre Dame strength of schedule, and that Northern Illinois loss it's really already demolished.
I was going to say.
Argue anyway.
I mean, again, here's the thing: Notre Dame currently 16th. I understand that is the AP poll, not the college football playoff poll.
Oh, I can't wait to see how low they are there.
Oh wait, Kyle, I think it's too high.
Because we don't have it there. Well, Kyle says a lot of things. Like if you think an 11-1 Notre Dame team is not going to be in the first 12 team, I don't care if USC loses the rest of their games. I don't care if Florida State loses and likely will the rest of their games. Like an 11-1 Notre Dame team, if you don't think they're going to be in the first 12 team playoff, you don't understand the business of college.
Yeah, the money behind it alone.
Oh, yeah, they're going to get in. Absolutely.
Whether that's right or wrong, like that's a whole separate debate.
Because they know even if they're going to be a low seed and even hypothetically lose in the first round, that first round's going to get a ton of coverage and it's going to have a ton of people there.
For whatever team, whatever team would host it, at this point, I think it would. I don't have all the
some team from the SEC.
Because right now. Yeah, Georgia 2, Bama 4. So I guess it would be Notre Dame at Alabama. You don't think that game's gonna, you don't think the college football playoff committee is not gonna dream that one up? Yeah, get real.
I mean, especially if it's LSU. That's
family,
right? Like, or somehow if the script would flip, but I don't know that it would at this point. You'd have to have a lot of help above you. But Brian Kelly coming back.
That would be amazing.
The South Bend would be wild as well.
Before we move on, though, Jim, I do also want to say one other thing that I learned, and shout out to Mike as the resident Red Tails representative during the NFC East preview, is the Red Tails have themselves a quarterback. Goodness. Yeah. Don't mess this one up like you did with RG3. If there's a nick to that knee, you put him in bubble wrap and sit for the season.
Yeah,
so what? He's just supposed to not play home games then?
Correct. Or go to the Meadowlands.
That's right. More games in New Jersey. Yeah, you don't want to play that.
Yeah, no. He
assumed the curse what Dan Snyder left with it. So hopefully, for their sake, anyway.
The stadium's still a dump, but yeah.
Been to that shithole quite a few times.
Look, I know. I think it was. I think it was the NFC's preview when we were, or maybe the NFL preview as a whole, when I was talking about how I thought Dallas at 9-8, which now looks completely laughable. But that I thought that Washington, if they win a game or two here, that Dallas doesn't, Washington could easily be the number 2 in the NFC East, and. After a couple of weeks, I don't want to knee jerk like EJ. I'm not, I don't want to blow one out here.
You heard today, didn't you?
But I think that the thing I'm concerned about is Dallas might be the worst team in the NFC East right now.
Stop. Well, we know Thursday, but stop.
I said what I said.
Stop. But I will say this much though. Unlike the last 3 years, when I've said, "Don't worry about it. The Cowboys be fine. 10+ wins." I'm a little more concerned this year about that. I think that's in very much jeopardy this year,
and rightly so.
And that schedule is not pretty.
It's nothing to do with the schedule. If the Saints are as fraudulent as you act like they are, the Cowboys got boat raced by them.
Yeah,
right. Like, so it doesn't even matter what the schedule is.
After this Giants game on Thursday, you have
I'm well aware.
Detroit, San Francisco, and Pittsburgh, and I know that's not order, but those are 3 teams after that.
Well, what the Niners are the walking wounded at this point,
right? So we'll see how they look like at that time of the game. But
it gets rough real quick.
Yeah. So I think the 10+ might be in jeopardy definitely this year.
Oh, that team, they are not making the playoffs.
Especially when you see how they look last first 3 weeks.
So after this week, they go to Pittsburgh, home against Detroit, to San Francisco, to Atlanta, home against Philly, home against Houston, at Washington.
God. And then Washington might be,
dude.
We Like I said,
That's a gauntlet there.
I said that McCarthy might be gone before Halloween. He might be gone before the middle of October. I mean, it's
Tim, who do I send my resume to? I have plenty of good NCAA football clips to send to Jerry.
jjones at I'mAnIdiot.net.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Jerry's
you're
email,
right.
I think it is now.
For the first time, I agree with you, Jim, on that. On the panic.
Dude, it's not good. It is really not good.
Not great, Bob.
Jay Jones at Oil Money doesn't buy common sense.
Not great, Bob.
Yeah, that is the understatement of the year. Anything else you guys learned from the weekend that was?
No.
I learned lots of stuff, but let's just go.
That's just life things. All right, we go to the world of college football, and I want this to be on the record because student of the game Kyle Nash has the gall to call me a coward. Look,
audacity.
If Colorado or UCF actually decides to get ranked at some point, maybe I'll put them in our picks, but you know the rules here, Kyle. But as I did for Mike last week when we speed picked just winner or loser, I'll throw these pathetic football squads the crumbs, and we'll go around the horn and predict 3-1 Colorado at 3-0 UCF Saturday 3:30 on Fox. Just win or lose, Sean. We'll start with you.
So you're saying I'm just going win lose?
Lose, no spread, none of that.
This does not count for our picks as well.
And what am I picking? Sorry, I was distracted by the fact that the Phillies still keep throwing Taiwan Walker out there. Keep
Colorado.
Like, how many
UCF.
runs?
They're all still drunk from last
Colorado,
night.
UCF. Well, part of me just really wants to get Nash fired up, but I'll take UCF for the win.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I'll take UCF straight up since they're 15-point favorites.
Jesus.
Yo, EJ.
I'll take UCF also too for that reason.
All right, Mikey B.
UCF via boat race.
Yeah, if you think today's the day where I'm going to start picking Coach Prime's team,
I mean, bet the over in that.
Your future head coach.
I was going to say you need him to lose so he can replace McCarthy.
Exactly.
Wrong.
No, because
Prime time.
As horrible as the idea of that would be, he's not going to go anywhere where Shador isn't going to be under center, and Cowboys already have too much money wrapped up in their quarterback.
Over under
but
on
they
that
might
is
have a high enough pick
63.
to
Take that.
The over on that game is 63.
Yeah,
Over.
Take
They'll
that.
hit that.
The over.
They'll hit that before the half.
Right.
Yeah, without question. All right, let's see. Joe says UCF. Devin says Colorado. Devin, you.
I'm rooting for Colorado though. For the record, but.
You would.
Shocker.
All right, let's go to the games that actually matter. Number 20, Oklahoma State. They are 3-1. They travel to number 23, Kansas State, also 3-1, a 5-point home favorite. Over under in this one, 55.5 Saturday noon on ESPN. Sean.
Oh, well, it's a Big 12 game, so shoot the over, boys. Take that. And I don't know, this should be a fun one, I think. Oklahoma State is just doing what Oklahoma State does. But, man, I've been watching I got to watch a couple late-night games with Kansas State, and I love that kid at quarterback. I like everything they're doing. I think they're exciting. I'm going to take K-State with the 5 points. They're going to cover that, and they're going to roll 4-1 Wildcats.
All right, Matt.
Yeah, I like the over. Both of them have like decent enough defenses, but I think both of them have the offenses that are going to make that a non-factor. So give me the over. I will take Kansas State to cover the spread.
All right, EJ.
Yeah, obviously the over is the play here, of course. If you're going to bet, especially bet the over, but I'm going to take K-State as well.
All right, Mikey B.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash, also has Kansas State in the over. I will be the contrarian so far. Give me the Cowboys. Give me Oklahoma State and the over.
One Cowboys team has to win this week. I guess.
Yeah, look, Kansas State did not look good last week, and I think that's going to carry over. I think Oklahoma State's a better team. I think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win, but without question, take the over.
Kansas State got boat raced by a bunch of Mormons.
Yeah,
they did. The Stormin' Mormons.
Yep.
Joe has K-State and the over. All right, next one, 3:30 Eastern time on Peacock. I wish Kyle was here to hear me say that.
Right on the cock.
Number 15, Louisville, they're 3-0. They are at number 16, Notre Dame, who is also or who is 3-1, a 6-point home favorite over under 48. Sean, go ahead.
Well, unfortunately for my pulse and heart rate, I could see this one being a good one too. But I'm hoping not, because I think Notre Dame, like for what semblance of a circle game they may have had on the schedule, I think that team remembers last year. Not only that, but with the one loss, your back's already against the wall. I think this is one of those, obviously USC is an automatic circle, but I think kind of the chance to get a little revenge and do it on your home field. I think Notre Dame comes to play. I think it's going to have a similar vibe to A&M, and I think that they push them around and they do it the right way. Give me the Irish to cover. And what's my over under 48?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? We'll give up some sloppy points and it'll hit that 48.
All right, very good, Matt.
Yeah, it's interesting here just because the offense for Louisville has been pretty good. Granted, it's against Appalachian, Jacksonville State, and Georgia Tech, so not necessarily the defense that Notre Dame has. So I want to take the under just because of how good Notre Dame's defense has been. It just is a little concerning. I'll still take it. And like Sean said, I think this is one that Notre Dame has been waiting on for some time. So give me Notre Dame minus the points and the under.
All right, very good, EJ.
No, I think Notre Dame win the game, but this is gonna be a field goal game. So give me Louisville on the points, but I will also take the under.
Mikey B.
Why'd he say it like that?
Because
he's an idiot.
He started doing it last week.
You missed last week's show, then Matt. You only get it.
For God's sake.
You missed last week's show, Sean. That's why.
Well, I mean, it's better than the slight under bit from last year, I guess.
Well, this? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And that'll never go away.
Just don't do that with the voice, okay?
They both sting.
Yeah, just the one or the other.
It's like the podcast equivalent of a bad touch, is what it is.
I said what I said.
We're bordering on stranger danger there, E-Jaws, all right?
Especially when you're in a windowless van.
Yeah, it makes sense. Student of the game, Kyle Nash takes the Cardinals of Louisville and the
Very
under.
good.
On brand.
I am taking Notre Dame in the over because
Homer.
I don't think Louisville can stop the offense.
Riley Leonard did realize last week that he can throw the football. Like he did remember that was a thing.
Hey, I can do this.
Hey, that's what my hands and arms do.
It's where the forward pass was invented and now rediscovered. You know?
Right. I mean,
That's-
Riley Leonard has also played against Louisville before. So
Yes.
I'll take that into account for my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, look, for some reason, under Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame has a tendency to play down to lesser teams. It has caught them more than once. Notre Dame under Marcus Freeman also, plays up for bigger games. I think he has more wins against top 15 opponents in 3 years than Brian Kelly had in 10. So, and that's not hating, Kyle. That's just a fact. So this to me feels like a game that Notre Dame gets up for, like they did against Texas A&M. So I like Notre Dame to cover, and I will also take the over on this one. I think the offense is going to utilize their weapons. I think the defense can maybe make some points as well. I mean, here's the thing: Louisville also, spoiled a season last year on the road for Notre Dame. So there's a lot of reasons this game has been circled on Notre Dame's schedule going into this season, and I think they're gonna do what they need to do this weekend. Devin has Notre Dame in the over. Joe, my goodness, Joe, even as a Notre Dame fan, has Louisville on the points, but Notre Dame wins. So
PTSD.
So I think gutsy like to take like, the
PTSD.
win to be like Notre Dame's going to like to get it within 6 points and then be like, but I know we're still better.
Yeah,
It's always just baffling.
I don't need that kind of a game this Saturday. So
No, it's just crush them.
just do what you're supposed to do. All right. The big one this weekend in the SEC. This one's Saturday, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Number 2, Georgia, 3-0. They are a 2-point road favorite at undefeated 3-0. Number 4, Alabama. Over under on this one is 48.5, Sean.
There's some real barn burners out there this weekend. Holy
I
smokes.
can't wait. It's gonna be a great
This is
weekend.
going to be one heck of a Saturday. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wants to say, like, I think just looking at it, I keep seeing Alabama, and I'm like thinking it's some kind of super sexy pick to take Alabama. I don't think either one's that much sexier than the other. I just think Georgia's still the better team, and I think Georgia's playing well, and I think that in this matchup, I don't know that the road really scares Georgia. They know what that environment's going to be like. Give me Georgia. I'm taking them obviously to cover the 2. I'm not concerned about the 2, but yeah, give me Georgia to pretty much roll, and that over under. I'm going to take the under. I know the SEC's been pretty high scoring, but I think it's better for everyone if this one's. It's going to be a heart attack kind of game, and it's going to be low scoring. I think both teams are going to have trouble moving the ball.
Very good, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on this one. I think that I know both teams have been scoring in bunches, not so much Georgia their last game, but prior to that they were. I think that they are the better team. We've seen how Milroe performs when he goes up against a very stout defense. So I will take Georgia minus the 2 and the under. A significant under.
Not slight?
Not slight.
Very good. EJ.
No, I can't for this one. This is gonna be a bummer. I cannot wait. Yeah, Georgia. But both off bias, to be honest with you. But Georgia definitely to win. In a great game. They'll cover the spread slightly, and I'll definitely take a slight under as well.
Yeah, I saw they were both off last week. I was like, man, they set this one
They
up.
said absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone's
The
healthy.
schedule
Everyone's
makers knew what they
rested,
were
everybody's
doing.
playing.
Yes.
They knew what they were doing. Mikey B.
Kyle says roll Tide in the under.
Ooh.
I'm going to say
Alabama.
I'm going to say that neither of these teams win the SEC, but I'm going to take Georgia and a significant under in a 9-3 final.
Nothing is over.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Georgia has been tested a little bit this year, also on the road. So I don't know if it's a road game that scares them or just all the blue in the stadium at Kentucky. We know how people from Georgia feel about blue. But Alabama hasn't really been tested, and they still struggled. I think it was a couple weeks ago against South Florida. So Georgia's the better team. I think they get the job done. So I'll take them to cover and win. I will also take the under. I think that both offenses are still working to find themselves and find their rhythm. And I think defense is going to be the name of the game in this matchup. Devin has Georgia and the over. Joe has
Alabama
and the under.
This feels like a 24-20 game.
Is that a Forrest Gump soundbite?
It is.
Yeah. It's every time I think about picking it, I hear that exact clip in my head.
Yep.
And I think it's what tries to sell. My brain tries to sell me on Alabama. Using Tom Hanks' voice. Yeah.
Alabama.
I mean, if you're gonna have somebody sell you on something,
Yeah, it might as well be Tom
Hanks is a great pick. So you could do a lot worse.
Well, just wait till the NFL. You can just throw a Houston. We have a problem in there.
There you go. All right, the last one in college for the weekend is the Big Ten Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC. Number 19 Illinois, fresh off their upset of Nebraska, they traveled to number 9 Penn State, who is 3-0, a 17.5-point home favorite. Over under in this one, 47.5. Sean, we'll go with you.
Heard that line.
Man, every time Penn State plays a ranked opponent, I want to pick that ranked opponent every time. I want to pick them to win outright. I want Penn State off the board. I want them knocked down a peg. I don't know that Illinois can pull that off.
Just do it.
I don't know if Illinois can pull that much off, but what I can tell you is that I don't think Penn State is 18 points better than Illinois. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Illinois to come out fire, and I'm going to take them with the points. And I am going to say it's going to be close enough that both teams have to fire. That's a lot of points, though, for a Penn State game. 48. I guess they're assuming that it's going to be like 27, 24. Yeah, give me the over. Why not? I've done it every other game so far.
All right, very good, Matt.
I will take the over here for sure. I think that's a pretty safe bet. Illinois has a pretty decent offense. Sean, they struggle with ranked opponents. They struggle with Bowling Green. So Give me the Fighting Illini
One of my favorite
plus the
greens.
17.5 points. Give me the Illini straight up. I'll throw money on that. Just
Ooh.
Oh, let's go.
I will take the Fighting Illini money line this
10 toes down, Matt, on that one?
Absolutely. I won't put it in
I
a parlays, but I will take that money line.
Go. EJ.
Definitely the over. Definitely the over. But I think Penn State will win the game, but definitely take Illinois in the points without question. That's way too many fucking points.
All right, Mikey B.
Student of the game, Kyle Nash has the Nittany Lions in the over. I'm bold enough.
He's rolling on the Illinois is overrated, even though Penn State's the most overrated. Got it.
I'm bold enough to do it. I'm crazy enough to do it. I'm going to do it. Give me the Illini. Give me the Illini outright.
Wow.
Get Penn State the hell out of here. They're scam artists. Give me the Illini. But give me the under, because I think the Illini are the only team that scores in this game.
Oh, I like it.
Wow.
I like the play.
Dang.
Not only take the L, but get embarrassed at home.
Jesus.
Let's take a look at what the
I don't
spread-
say this very often for that gentleman in the upper middle right there. But I hope you're right.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Penn State gave up 27 points to Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Okay, now look, I was watching this week. I've been because Bowling Green they've played a fairly tough schedule for Bowling Green. And they've been the thorn in the side of a couple teams here.
Right.
I think they might be better than we're giving them credit for in this analogy. But if you're going to claim to be a top 10 team,
that's the point.
You got to slap them around.
Right. That's the point. If you're a team that some people want to try and make a case for a potential Big Ten championship, top 10, playoff run, you can't be having. You can't.
I think you could just throw away the rest of Penn State and Ohio State's games for the year. Make them play each other every week until the end of the season. I don't think Penn State wins one.
Plus 650.
Look, I say that
odds for the
respectfully,
Illini
considering what
money line.
Notre Dame's done at home this year.
Well, sure.
So.
I don't. You put Notre Dame against Ohio State, I think we would have a hard time winning.
Yes, I'm glad we don't play that game this year.
We don't play that one this year.
Yeah. First off, over for sure. Without question, if you're betting this game, take Illinois with the points. There is no chance Penn State's winning this one by 18 or more. Not happening. I don't give a shit that it is the night game, whiteout game, and all that bullshit. Do not care. This team's not 18 points better than anybody except apparently Kent State.
I mean, honestly, the 5 of us and 6 random people off the street could be 18-point favorites against Kent State this year.
But also, man, I trust James Franklin in a big game less than I trust Brian Kelly in a big game.
Oof.
Give me Illinois to win this game Saturday night in Slappy Valley. I can't wait to read the headline Sunday morning from the local papers. That's going to be
I'll tell you what,
beautiful thing.
It sounds weird, but thank you, Kyle Nash, because this was almost as unanimous of a pick as Georgia steamrolling Kentucky, and I don't know what Kentucky watched, which clip of this podcast they watched, but they made us all look silly in that game. So the last thing I wanted was a unanimous pick Illinois. So thanks, Kyle Nash, wherever you are.
Agreed. Joe has Illinois in the under. Devin has Penn State in the under. Joe says Penn State needs to lose somebody besides Michigan and Ohio State for once. I agree. He said whiteout. Also, whiteout does not erase the fact that James Franklin is their coach. That is also.
You can't white out your head coach.
No.
Correct.
You
also shouldn't either because he's a black head coach. You probably shouldn't white him out.
Yeah, probably not a good look.
But also seems like a problem.
Not a good look.
Probably shouldn't. Just probably shouldn't do that. I'll go ahead and say that. All right, let's move to the National Football League as we move into week number 4 of the National Football League. And we will start Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is the 1 and 2. I love that I have sound clips for both these teams. The 1 and 2.
The Denver Broncos.
Traveling to the 2 and 1.
The goddamn Jets.
Who are a 7-point home favorite. Over under on this one, 38.5. Mikey B, we will start with you.
Hold on 1 second.
Why are we picking this game?
I forgot we changed it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe that was your request, E-Jaws.
No.
That was Matt telling me he wouldn't pick the Eagles-Bucks game.
I just there was so many messages coming through my phone.
Not mine.
Yeah, I know.
Docket.
I've made the mistake of typing the wrong thing. I'm gonna take the Jets minus the 7, and I will take the over.
Goddamn Jets.
Hit the sounder again because Kyle Nash took the goddamn Jets in the over.
The goddamn Jets.
All right, very good. EJ.
I was prepared for this game, but I'm not, Jets anyway. With the 7, and the over.
Goddamn Jets.
All right, Matt.
I'll keep this trade rolling. Jets in the over.
The goddamn Jets.
Very good, Sean.
Yeah, I think there's some folks that are going to be like, watch out, here comes Bo Nix. I think he ran into a very underprepared, overconfident Tampa Bay team who just did not see that coming.
What was that shit?
And I think it's going to be one of those anomalies when you look back at the schedule and you're going to go, how the heck did that happen? This is. I think the Jets are getting hot at the right time, and they're playing the defense that Tampa couldn't find last week. Give me the Jets in the over.
The goddamn Jets.
Yeah, not many times you'll hear me pick for the brand ambassador for ayahuasca, but this will be one of them. Give me the Jets in the over.
The goddamn Jets.
That's
all right.
Not a fan, huh, Jim? Not a fan of Aaron Rodgers, huh?
No, yeah, that's news.
No, I'm not. Wait, is the breaking news? This just in. Jackass.
Jim hates AR-15.
Yeah.
All right. Devin had the Broncos. Wow.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
Dolphin fan talking to chorus.
Not even the cover to
wish it existed.
Yeah, I mean that's a homer pick.
Yeah, I'll give him that one. Joe, jeez, Joe.
Yeah, Joe's got him outright.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
It's Denver outright in the under.
Bold
Change
pick.
it up, man. It's
The bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah.
Let me see what the odds are for
strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
That's. I mean,
Yeah,
don't
Joe,
get me
you
wrong.
gotta
I think
bet
it'd be wild to see that. But,
So if you took the Broncos straight up and the under, he said,
yeah,
you're looking at plus
gotta be like-
600 odds already.
Do it.
there you go. Why not?
I mean, I'm not
Go
doing
for
it.
it.
Not you, but the one who
I'm not
was it, Joe?
doing it.
No,
I mean, I'm gonna spot on that,
Joe.
Joe.
Was it Joe that said that? Joe?
Yeah,
Might
Joe,
as well
get a 10 spot on that.
Just
You know
might
what?
as well light that 10 spot on fire.
I mean, I'm gonna light a solid 10 spot on the Fighting Illini money
Oh,
line.
I did that already for sure.
So-
Joe, if you want to do that, you can just Venmo at Big Jim Sports. Just
send it.
Just send $10 over there.
For
That'd be fine.
$3 more, you can have an Eagles Jaworski t-shirt.
That's true.
There you
Let's see how
go.
another 2 days.
All right. Next one we go to Sunday 1:00 on CBS as well. The 3-0 Minnesota Vikings against future NFC title game combatant, the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. 2.5 point home favorite. You're over under 43.5. Mikey B.
Kyle Nash has the Vikings and the under. I will take the Vikings outright. I think we remember that Malik Willis is, quote, a bad quarterback this week when he actually has to play somebody better than the Colts and the Titans. So yeah, give me the Vikings. Give me the over because I think Malik Willis throws 2 touchdowns to the Vikings defense.
I love
Score.
that. EJ.
No, I'm going all the way. I'm going Packers. to
Shocker.
win, to cover, and I will take
You
the
dumbass.
under.
All right. Well, yeah, I think it would have to be. Matt.
I mean, I'm definitely taking the under just because I think both quarterbacks throw multiple picks in this game. I hate both of these stories. Just because EJ's so high on the Packers, I really want to pick the Vikings.
Such a
Nah, give me the Vikings.
Aha.
do it.
Vikings plus the points.
All right. Very good.
Was
Sean.
like that thing, the skull? You like that, Matt? No.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been watching the Vikings the last few weeks, and I'm like, it's pretty hard to ignore what they're doing. Sammy Darnold trying to round out an undefeated first quarter. I think he's going to do it. I think I'm kind of on the Mikey train here. I think Malik Willis proves he's the weaker link of the two, and I think the Vikings defense is good enough to keep him at bay. I'm going to take the Vikings, and I'm going to take the under. Plus, I've always wanted to, I've always been like this closet Vikings fan. Like, it's just like, if not the Eagles, I think dressing like a Viking every weekend would be so badass. I would have the coolest
Tampa,
horns.
well
I'd have them
dress like
passed
a
down to my
pirate.
kids. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, you can
be a Viking.
I'd rather be a Buccaneer than a Viking, honestly.
Nah, I've seen these people down here.
That's Florida people.
They're not in
I was gonna
costume.
say, I'd like to be.
That's
I'd like to
actually
be
how they dress.
I'd like to be a pirate. I wouldn't like to be.
Yeah,
a
I think, but that's just it. I think people are like, man, these guys get really. No, they're just wearing their ragged.
No,
clothes.
that's
I feel
just them on a
just-
Tuesday.
They just threw a bandana on for Sunday and called it a pirate.
They would
costume.
just rather spend their money on flags for their front yard than they would on new clothes.
Yeah, no, the pirate's pretty cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but I think being a Viking would be outstanding. So, I'll be a Viking.
Something that I knew, but I forgot until somebody pointed it out over the weekend. Sam Darnold, about
Went to
6 months
USC.
younger than Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
we forget that because Darnold played his first 3 years and came out. Burrow obviously went late into
And
his
Burrow had his
college
first
career.
grandkid while he was at LSU.
But look, I think it's adorable that there's people out there who, based on the first 3 weeks of the season, think that this Packers team are an NFC title contender. They might be, but not based on what we've seen so
There's
far.
a person that thinks that.
Well, I'm sure there's other crazy people not on
Packers
this.
fans aren't even under
Packers
this impression.
Saints.
Packers fans are like, what's this fucking guy talking about? No, the Vikings are going to win this one. I think they're going to win it pretty easily. I'll go a slight over. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points in this one, but absolutely Vikings get the win.
Ernest, is the outside of the security van now painted Lambo green?
It's close.
It's much easier to.
Well,
park
right now
their
it's
hedges.
Eagles green because Jaworski.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point.
And it blends into hedges better then.
Devin and Joe both have the Vikings. Devin says the over as well. All right, next one we go to is Sunday, 8:20 Eastern time on NBC. It is the 3-0 Buffalo Bills traveling to Baltimore to take on the 1-2 Ravens, who are somehow a 2.5-point home favorite. The over-under in this one, 45.5. Mikey B, we'll start with you.
Kyle has the Bills and the over. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Give me them because somehow they're a road dog. Yeah, I'll take the plus points. I'll take them outright. I'll take Josh Allen to have like 1 million rushing yards on this defense. I don't care. Bills by 1 billion.
EJ.
Now, Baltimore, still issues there. Even with that win in Dallas, the second half looked very, very shaky. But I'm going to take Baltimore win this game. Cover. And I'm going to take the over.
All right. Matt.
Yeah, Buffalo just somehow keeps finding ways to win and win convincingly. Ravens found a way to almost lose a third in a row, so I don't think that even with it being in Baltimore, it's going to make much of a difference. Give me the Bills. Give me the Bills outright. I will take the over as well.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, Josh Allen's not afraid of a road matchup, and man, the Ravens can't decide who their number one target is. They can't decide if they want to be a running team or a passing
No, it's
team.
not. It's Mark Andrews.
Yeah, it's not. And
I
it's
know
probably
that.
your best target.
I know.
So I don't understand.
I know that.
It's very likely not Mark Andrews.
It is also not very likely.
No, it's not likely. It's not likely Andrews.
No,
or
it is not either of those.
Bateman. It's just Lamar Jackson. He's just out there throwing to himself.
All he is.
It's very likely that it's Derrick Henry.
But yeah, no, I can't in any sense of my imagination understand where they got this spread from. Give me Allen. It's because if they're going to tell you how the Ravens are backs against the wall, like they got a chance to gain a game on Buffalo. I think it's the opposite. I think Buffalo's licking their chops because they have a chance to. I don't want to say bury the Ravens in the first 4 games, but put them in a real hole. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And the over.
Yeah, Bills. The Bills for the first time in a couple of years, I cannot say like not completing games, not doing the things they're supposed to do. The addition by subtraction, at least through the first
This is not a
3
trap
games,
game.
for the
Sorry,
Bills
Joe.
has been wild. They look every bit as dominant as any team in this league. So without question, I'm taking the Bills not only to cover, to win outright. Beating a defenseless Cowboys team, and I mean that on multiple levels, does not mean that everything is right in Baltimore. So
I see, because they don't have a defense. I see what you did there.
There you go. Good for you.
This guy gets it.
But yeah, so Bills absolutely. I will take the over in this one. Joe has the Bills in the under. He says Bills win, but it's closer than it should be.
So he's got the Bills winning, but calls it a trap. How's it is it a trap for Baltimore? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I guess the thought there is the Bills. He thinks the Bills should win.
It's going to be closer because they're going to overlook this.
They're overlooking the Ravens.
In a game you're not favored. I don't think that's.
I don't think we're looking at all. I think it's
They know who the reigning. They know there's an MVP candidate at center. They know that this is a team that's.
I think this
by a lot of people to win.
This is a toss-up game. A toss-up game for me anyway. So
I think this Bills team is very, very focused. So
Can we?
Yeah,
Can
it's
we
2.5. Go ahead,
Can we
Mike.
talk about a world where in Week 5 it's going to be the 1-4 Baltimore Ravens versus potentially the 1-4 or 0-5 Cincinnati Bengals?
Yeah.
What the fuck happened?
Are they even going to put that on TV?
No.
No.
It'll be live.
Nickelodeon at 7 a.m.
It'll be the first NFL game live on Pluto TV.
Oh, Burrow and Lamar. Why not?
Exclusively on
If
Pluto.
if the Bengals lose to the Red Rocket, that game needs to be on like Telenovas and Universe or something. We don't even want that on CBS.
Univision.
Animal Planet.
Yeah, there you go. Animal Planet.
They're both animals.
Yeah, there you go. All right, the last one for Week 4 in the NFL, the 3-0 Seahawks. I didn't realize so late in their game on Sunday that they were actually even playing this year, and B, undefeated. I was like, wow,
Right. I was looking at this. I'm like, wait, they're 3-0, really?
3-0.
Yeah.
They got rid of freaking Pistol Pete, and they are 3-0. So look at them. Congratulations. And they are at 2-1 Detroit, debuting the new black uniforms with the blue helmets. So it's going to be a fun look there for Detroit. 2.5-point home favorite for the Lions. 46 is your over/under. Monday, 8:15 Eastern time on ABC. I think this is the second of 2 Monday night games again. This
double Monday night thing is just too much for me.
Well, like I love it. I remember when they used to do it when it was like they would do the East Coast game at 7:30, and then it'd be like Raiders Broncos started.
They usually do that for the first week. I think they would
only
do
first
that.
week. Yeah, only
first week. I
Okay.
don't.
Okay, hold on. Who really cares about the first Monday Night Football game when it's Titans versus Skylar Thompson? Pass.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
And I'll tell you why I hate it too. But last night, given the fact that one game was complete shit out the chute, another game was a lot more competitive.
I loved it. I was at work and I had something to watch that wasn't like a debate. So yeah.
I'm a 2 TV household now. Granted, we had the Phillies on, so I would still only had one of them on, and then I had Monday Night Raw on my iPad. It was just, I wonder why I can't sleep at night. But anyway,
that's a lot of stimulation on the
for
eyes
real.
there.
Probably not great. There's probably a doctor losing their mind somewhere, but who cares? But anyway, Seahawks, Lions, Monday night. Mikey B, who you got?
Kyle has the Lions in the under. I have the Lions in the over.
All right, very good. EJ?
Yeah, Seattle's unbeaten streak comes to an end. Give me Detroit in a blowout, and give me the under.
Blowout.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. I mean, I would not be upset if my Lions wanted to blow out.
Homer.
I actually do think the Lions win the blowout. I'm not too impressed with the gauntlet that Seattle's gone through. Home against Denver, at New England. Sorry,
Exactly.
EJ. And then home against the Tualist Dolphins.
Exactly.
So, yeah, give me the Lions. I'll take the over. I think the Lions score 35 by themselves. So,
Wow. Sean.
Yeah, I don't know. Lions are banged up on defense. They have 2 linebackers banged up, though Anzalone should come back from a concussion. Got some injuries in the secondary. None of that actually matters because the Seahawks are barely a real team. So I know I'm making fun of him. To be honest, from what I've seen, Metcalf is playing about as good as he has in 2 years. He looks like he's injury free and running full speed. And they finally have, out of necessity, given Charbonnet the ball more than 5 times a game. And look what happened.
I'll have a Chardonnay
because he's better than Kenneth Walker. I can see the Seahawks scoring some points in this, but it's going to be a big night in Detroit, and Detroit's not going to want to lose any ground to Minnesota. I think Detroit wins this. I'm going to take the over.
Wait, you mean giving your better players the football is the smart thing to do?
The whole semblance, especially with running backs losing value and like not getting the big contract. I'm like, why are you so into incumbent running backs? Like, oh, well, he's been our guy and we're winning games. It's like, well, yeah, but he's averaging 3 yards a carry. You know, I mean, Kenneth Walker's not that bad. And should these guys probably be splitting time? Probably. But, I mean, it should at the very least be a split. And Charbonnet's just kind of been sitting there like, Coach, am I going to get to play?
I would tell Jerry Jones to wake up, but
buddy.
We don't have a good running back to bench a bad one for.
No.
Yeah, I like the Lions to win big here. They've been a little shaky to start off the year. But getting a win, coming back home, Sunday night prime time. I think these Lions are kind of thriving in these bigger moments over the last couple of years. So I do like them to win in this one. So I take them plus the points. I will take the over as well. Devin has the Lions in the over, as does Joe, taking the Lions and the over. So that is where we leave the National Football League in week 4, but as we do each and every week, we started it over on Wednesday night with Student of the Game last week, but you know what time it is. Tool time, everybody. It is the weekly power ranking segment brought to you by our only, thank goodness it is the only, Eagles Jaworski Christian. As we will do, we will start by looking at his bottom 5. Remember to look on the right side of the screen. EJ, give us your bottom 5.
All right, 28. Hate to do it, man, but 28 the Bengals, 29 the Giants, 30 the Panthers, 31 the Jags, and 32 the Titans.
All
the
right.
Bengals, you know what's funny? The Bengals 0-3, and I get it. They probably should be down here. They don't feel like an 0-3 team. I feel like they can turn things around. Although Joe Burrow looked great last night. I don't know, man, but the other 4 teams obvious. The Jaguars are the one finding the biggest shock here. Like, what the hell is that going on in Jacksonville now? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The Jaguars have
What the fuck
a lot of problems. A lot of problems. The Bengals, I mean, they're bad defensively, and I don't think I'm saying out of turn with Mike. We'll see some of ours on the screen here in a little bit after we get your top 10, EJ.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go ahead.
But
can I ask the screwdriver a question?
Go ahead.
Where the hell are the Miami Dolphins?
That would be my only move. I might put the Dolphins on and bump off the Bengals just because there's no direction without
it was considered. It was considered. It really was because of the quarterback situation.
I mean, I'll take 0-3 with Joe Burrow over 1-2 with Skylar Thompson. And for the record, spoiler alert, I have the Bengals in my bottom 5. But where, like, there's nothing there. I mean, you have the greatest wide receiver in the NFL, according to every analyst that you listen to on every pregame show and postgame show, in Tyreek Hill, and he was lost.
I know. You know, and I struggle. I told Jim this on text like this morning. Like, I struggle with this because the only reason I even put the Bengals in the bottom 5, honestly, at 0-3 is because it's not that they're 0-3. It's 2 losses at home to the Patriots and the Commanders. Now, we'll see more in the weeks to come if the Commanders really are better than we think they are. But to me, right now in the 3-week sample, those are 2 bad losses.
But what did both of those teams do? Run the damn ball.
I get what they did, but the reality
okay,
is,
so
the reality is, I look at the Bengals as a Super Bowl contending team, and
that's a problem.
That's two bad losses, man. I mean, that's.
Well, I mean, they didn't lose to anybody that's currently residing in your bottom 5, so obviously it isn't that bad.
Right, but look, you got them up 5-2 also, so clearly.
Sure, I absolutely do, but it's because I'm telling you that they cannot stop the run. They held Patrick Mahomes last week to the worst passing game of his career, and they cannot stop the run. The secondary is not the issue. Sure, does it look bad on the last drive where Terry McLaurin catches a great pass from Jaden Daniels? Sure, it looks awful, but let's talk about that. Where's Cam Taylor-Britt, the best cover corner they have? He's on the other side of the field on someone that isn't the best receiver that Washington has. It's a defensive problem, just like Jim said.
So then what do we argue here? Are the Dolphins be here with them? So if the Dolphins down here with you, well, I guess we'll see yours in a second. So
correct. I'm not going to spoil anymore.
Yeah, well, wait. So we can
yeah. Okay. I forgot about the Dolphins and mine. We'll see mine in a minute as well. I think the hard thing with building I think it would have been easier to build a top 5, bottom 10.
Yeah.
And it would have been to build a top 10, bottom 5, because I think there's a lot of bad teams.
That's probably true.
Like there's a lot of bad teams right now. There's a couple teams that I think are really good. And then there's like a pocket of teams that like they might be good. They stumbled out of the gate.
Yeah.
We don't know if they're good. We don't know if they're actually bad. It's also because we're only 3 weeks into the year and teams don't play preseason anymore. A lot of these things haven't shaken themselves out yet. So these first ones are always a little bit more volatile than the other ones. But EJ, give us your top 10, and then we'll dig into it.
And week 3 was just a weird week in general. Lots of anomalies. Anyway, top 10, 10-1. Here we go. Number 10, the New York Jets. Number 9, the Green Bay Packers. The 8, the Seahawks. Number 7, the Texans. 6, Steelers. 5, Eagles. 4, Lions. 3, Vikings. 2, Bills. And 1, the Chiefs. I almost pulled the trigger on swapping 1 and 2. I almost did.
You should have.
I almost did.
You should have, but
that was impressive.
Who do you trust?
That's why
we know the dumb game you play.
You already know how it's already baked into the show. You know that already.
Yeah, it's
Joker soundbite.
What's that? Yeah, it's a Joker
soundbite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, we know how that works for you. We're not changing anything.
It's the name of the show. We know it's ingrained, bud.
Yep.
We'll put up. You'll see. We're not going to go over them like we did with Kyle last week. You can see mine. You can see Mike's. You can see Sean's there. So there's at least there's a few things that are kind of starting to come together. When you look at the top of these, Bills near the top, Vikings in the top 5. Across the board for us, Lions in it for most. That 4 to 10 range. There's a lot of the same teams jumbled around.
Yeah,
Bills, Chiefs, Vikings.
Hold on, can I comment real quick?
Straight across.
I am stunned at the bottom 5 right now. That Jim and Mike do not have the Giants in there at all. That's stunning to me right now.
Look,
they're hopping on that Danny Dimes train.
No, I'm not. But let's talk about it. The Titans are god awful. The Jaguars got boat raced.
Yes.
The Carolina Panthers are the Carolina Panthers. Danny Dimes with Malik Neighbors greater than Skylar Thompson with any weapon that the Miami Dolphins have currently. And the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-3. And in your words, lost 2 games that they should have won. At some point, there has to be a penalty there. You probably would not have predicted them to go in and beat the greatest quarterback of all time in Deshaun Watson, who's having a career resurrection, is going to take Cleveland to the playoffs. So at that point, I'm using your words. I'm going to take the Giants out because
I'm the only one that left the Bengals out.
Yeah, you left the Bengals out.
I mean, I don't want to mad at me. You have almost a very similar bottom 5.
Honestly,
I'm not mad. I'm just giving you the sell.
Right. Honestly, reconsidering it, I probably would have pulled the Bengals out and put the Dolphins in there.
Me too. Honestly, I probably would have also.
That's kind of a bad on my part. I think it's because I didn't, and kind of to EJ's point, it was I had kind of loftier goals for the Bengals going into this year. I think we all did. I know you did as well, Mike. But I had loftier goals for the Bengals. So the fact that they are 0-3, the fact that they have lost to the Commanders and to the Patriots, and that seemingly, and trust me, I say this respectfully because I understand what it looks like, having no answers when it comes to stopping a team from running the football.
Correct.
Like those are alarming trends. Obviously, we know that the quarterback situation with Miami is an alarming trend, but maybe they're going to make a call to Pittsburgh. Hey, you got a quarterback you could send me?
Russell Wilson, I said last week, Russell Wilson should be an option.
What? So he can die behind that offensive line next? Because that guy can't run for his life.
I said, let me be very clear on why the Bengals aren't in and the Patriots are. Is just the Patriots they came out and kind of shocked the world, and they were maybe they're actually good, and they're not. No. Like they're not fooling anybody. And that loss to the New York Giants or to the New York Jets was absolutely embarrassing football by the New England Patriots. I'm more in the realm of like kind of where EJ was, that the Bengals are on the rise. That like even though they're 0-3, they have these bad losses. I feel like
the offense is finally healthy,
right? Whereas the teams that I included. Now keep in mind, while the Dolphins don't have life, and while they were very close to being in the bottom 5. There's some other warning teams. There's teams on the warning list, and there's teams down here. I would argue that if the Panthers come out and win this week, that they're going to shoot right out of here for me. I'd probably say the same for the Giants. If the Giants want to come out and do something amazing, I will probably find 2 teams worse than them. I will start to work them up because the Dolphins are right there for me. I think the Browns are in danger of being here.
0-4 Cincinnati
out west. And the NFC West has 3 teams that are starting, with injuries in San Francisco, with a fading Rams hopes, with the Arizona Cardinals proving that despite Marvin Harrison, they are still the Cardinals. All 3 of those teams on danger of being here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So there's a lot of teams. Yeah. Not to mention, Big Jim's Cowboys are getting closer. They're creeping down.
They lose this week, they'll probably.
If they lose it,
and the Bears are bad. I don't think the Bears are good. So there's a lot.
You had no last week, Sean.
I know. There's a lot.
see, that was my point. It'd be a hell of a lot.
And it wasn't that they showed me anything. It's just other teams showed me even less. And I was just okay, you're in.
That's kind of my point.
We're still shaking the rubble to the bottom. Is what we're doing.
It would have been a hell of a lot easier to make a top 5 and a bottom 10.
Oh, I could have got you 10.
For sure. And so to the reason I don't have the Giants in mind is because look, I don't know that a win over the Browns, and again I say this respectfully, it's the only one my Cowboys have, is a win over the Browns is not like it's something that impressive. But the Giants did the thing that if they want to have anything that resembles success, and by success I mean like 4+ wins, is get the ball in the hands of your best playmakers. Get the ball to Neighbors. Get the ball in the hands of Devin Singletary. There's a reason you like when you lost Barkley. Obviously, you're taking a hit. Devin Singletary is not Saquon Barkley. So before anybody thinks I'm trying to say that is not what I'm saying. But he looks good. He looks focused. In the early going this year. So get him the ball. Basically, get the ball out of Danny Dimes' hands. That's going to be a great place to start. They did that on Sunday. The Browns, obviously ending up in my bottom 5, are absolutely atrocious. And nowhere near a playoff contender. Staring at you, EJ. That
clearly
that team's bad. The Jags Titans really, really bad. It's
there's no life in Tennessee.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's
which is weird.
They should just call Ryan Tannehill. I'm sorry. I
don't think Ryan says yes.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. Shit.
No.
I don't want to die out there.
And it's weird because Tennessee,
Miami should probably call him.
Yeah.
Well, they should. I don't think he's saying yes because word out of his camp is he wants to go somewhere where he could potentially start the rest of the season. And with because Tua's wanting to come back and not wanting to, he's holding off because he wants to see if there's a chance that develops. I think he wants to make a playoff run is what he wants to do.
So when the Miami Dolphins trade for Matthew Stafford in like a week and a half or 2, and he can start in LA the rest of the year over Stetson Bennett, and Matt Stafford potentially tries to lead the Dolphins to a playoff spot because there's no reason why Tua should play quarterback again the rest of this season.
Well, I think if the Rams are in trouble and the injuries are still bad and if their record's bad, I don't know that he goes there either. I think he wants the chance to be.
Yeah,
I think
Tannehill,
his
he's going to
perfect
come back.
call is with like 5 weeks to go on a team that's probably in a playoff spot. I think that's what he wants.
Yeah, most likely. Looking at the top 10 and EJ's top 10, does anything stick out to anybody that they think is crazy besides the
Malik
Chiefs being ahead of the Bills?
Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers being in the top 10. Over the Saints, basically over the Saints, even over the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I think that's
I was
kind of
gonna say,
wild.
Mike, do you have the Saints, but you do at 10.
I do. I have them at 10.
That Saints loss on some was a bad, fraudulent loss. Fraud.
They lost to a top 5 team of yours.
No, they lost to a top 5 team that was missing 2 receivers.
They both lost
at home.
You still have them at top 5 though.
They lost to the same team. One of them lost in Rio. The other one lost in New Orleans.
I'd like to make fun of my own because I have the Seahawks at 4. I'd like to make fun of them.
That's way too high.
I think I just was like, well, they're undefeated, and I don't know how much I like these other teams behind. I knew I didn't like the Steelers undefeated.
I knew you knocked the Texans bad after last week. You put them number 1 last week, Sean.
Yeah,
I
mean,
was surprised
things are falling apart. They're going to move back into the top 5 at some point for me.
It makes sense why Jim and Mike have the Steelers low, but
maybe I put the Seahawks as high as I did just so they could fall from grace. Maybe that's where I'm at.
To be fair, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers where I do because none of the games have felt overly impressive. All field goals against Perk Thuggins and the Falcons week 1. That offense ain't doing anything. They beat a team quarterbacked by Bo Nix, scoring a total of 13 points. And up until the point where
the Denver Broncos,
up and until the point where Justin Herbert re-aggravated his high ankle sprain, they were losing that game. I'm not impressed. They're inevitably going to go into a portion of the schedule where
they're rolling a defense right now. Like they're fielding a defense and nothing else.
Correct. And it's inevitably going to catch up to them to where the defense is going to not be able to hold a team to 7 points.
Yeah. I figured I'm going to hold them in that 5 to 8 range while they're undefeated, and as soon as they're not, they're going to fall off the top 10. That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm going to let their defense hang in my top 10.
They feel like they feel more fraudulent at 3-0 than like Seattle does.
Who? Pittsburgh?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. In
I
my
don't think
opinion,
so.
Pittsburgh is the worst
More
of the
than Seattle.
I speak of conversation.
I mean, I honestly think Minnesota's the worst of the 3-0 teams.
But they got 2 quality wins.
I think the worst of the 3-0 teams is the team that EJ has at number 1. But
I think the Vikings have a good defense.
Yeah.
but Jim, as you already know.
Yeah, you're.
Thank you.
I mean, Seattle. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over the side.
I mean, I think Seattle and Pittsburgh's 3-0s are similar.
Very similar.
Correct.
The Seahawks have a 26-20 win over Denver. They have a 23-20 win over New England, and they beat the doors off of a depleted Dolphins team. So I think they are very similar. Honestly, I'd probably actually like to put the Texans probably back above the Seahawks. The more I'm thinking about it, because I'm not sold on either of them. At 3-0, I mean, this week was the Steelers' best game, and I think Justin Fields is starting to settle into that offense. Sorry to say, Russell Wilson, but it's over. But before it even started, because I think this team is starting to gel around him. Obviously, we're going to find out more about them as they get into some of those harder games. It's not necessarily a slight on the Steelers. It's just, you beat teams that either, and same with Seattle, either aren't good or were injury depleted.
Well, I put more stock on the Steelers 3-0 than the Seahawks because I guess the Chargers. I'm a little higher on the Chargers than most on this panel.
Yeah,
so I put more stock on the Steelers 3-0 more than the Seahawks. And to boot also too, they were a playoff team last year. They were playing team the year before. So this is kind of what they do anyway. 3-0 is kind of a shock. Mike, calm down a second. 3-0 is kind of a shock.
Oh, here we go again with It's 3 years ago. There's a whole new quarterback. It's half of a new offense.
Yeah, but it's the same culture that Mike Thomas put together for years. I mean, it fits. I'm not saying they're a great team, Super Bowl contender, all this stuff, but
championship pedigree.
Hold on. Who they beat? Who they beaten again? Let's run this through.
They beat the Broncos.
1-2 Denver, 2-1 Chargers, and who was the third team?
They beat the Broncos. No, who was that? What are you talking about? The Steelers?
Falcons.
The Falcons.
And they beat
Falcons.
the what? So the combined record of the teams that they've played are 4-6, and they've scored 20 points max.
But the Falcons should have beaten the Chiefs, according to a lot of people.
Right.
I'm just what I'm getting at here is what is it that you're telling me that Pittsburgh does that's leaps and bounds better than what Seattle is doing?
I didn't say you missed that point. I didn't say leaps and bounds. All I said was I put little more stock into Seattle, to Pittsburgh 3-0 than Seattle. That's all.
For what reason? Sell me the reason.
Tomlin, I guess, is the reason.
Tomlin one of the starters.
Fair.
I like their team overall better than theirs, and they have the one of the two teams. They have the one quality win of the two teams against the Chargers. That's all. But that's a game of inches, though. So I'm not gonna make a big deal about whether you have Seattle or Pittsburgh. I'm just saying that
I'm pretty sure you're both just making the fight that both are mediocre and one of them.
Yeah, I don't.
That both are. We still need to see a hell of a lot more from these 3-0 teams.
But the Steelers have done this a couple of years now. They always seem to come out of nowhere and shock the world.
And to be fair,
they do it every year. How's it shocking the world?
Both of those teams on mine, in a perfect world, have the Eagles, Lions, and Texans above both the Seahawks and the Steelers.
Correct.
But I have asterisks next to both Philly and Detroit because they're both now Detroit's injuries are more on the defensive side of the ball. Like I said, we have a Laporta possibly injury. There's some question marks there. I don't know that Goff has looked completely himself. So there's some question marks that I have for them. And for Philly, it's the injury bug. It's a handful of guys that may or may not play. It's AJ Brown, it's Devontae Smith in a protocol. You started falling in love with a tiny white slot receiver, and now he's on injured reserve. Darius Slay, hopefully that's not lingering. And so there's a lot of injury risks for Philly. I would have loved to throw Philly in at like 4, but I couldn't because I don't know where they are.
Yeah, I almost did.
And I did the same, I think, at the bottom where even though I don't want to take an injured team and throw it down there and be like, because I know that if they just throw any other quarterback in there that I have any faith in, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm starting to buy him a little more. If the running backs are healthy, I'm starting to buy him a little more. But I think here there's a lot of one-loss teams that I think are better than those two undefeated teams.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but they won their games, so I'm giving them some credit for that for now.
I will say this about the Steelers. They don't have the worst point differential for undefeated teams. That would be the Kansas City Chiefs at plus.
Correct.
The best team in football, baby.
Right.
Championship pedigree.
Name of the episode.
Well, they're starting
allegedly
every week. It's going to help.
Yeah, something like that. Anything else we want to hit from the?
I don't see anything else egregious really here, honestly.
No,
I mean,
I'm glad to see enough of us had the Saints hanging in there. I'm glad to see that. I think that they've done enough to show that.
I mean, here's
that's
the thing.
A lot of points, and they played good defense against, even against Philadelphia. I thought they played pretty good defensive football, despite being sold to me as an offensive team. So I like where they're at.
I think the big point is at 3 weeks into the season, there's still a shitload more that we don't know about most teams in this league.
We could all have 6 teams in our top 10 that aren't there at the end of the year. So
yeah, so
in a year,
there's going to be a lot of things that change
in a year, maybe next week or two, probably.
As this year goes on. So, anything else from anybody?
No.
Taiwan Walker sucks.
Jesus.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, we are going to look at the weekend that is upcoming, and we will put our guarantees on the board of what things will happen this upcoming weekend. And Sean, we'll start with you. What is going to happen this weekend?
Well, I can tell you one thing that's going to happen, and it's not that big of a shocker, is that we are going to roll in to we're rolling out the red carpet for a very beautiful time of year every year. Hockey has officially started. We're rolling into October baseball, getting into Red October and some Major League playoffs, and we're hitting our stride here at the end of the first quarter of football. This is typically the most beautiful time of the year, I think, from a sports perspective. So welcome to it, and congratulations. We've made it through a summer of baseball. But as far as from the football side of things, what's going to happen, I will tell you this. I'm going to take the 2 Monday night games, and I'm going to tell you that the Lions and the Seahawks will have as many points at halftime as the Titans and Dolphins do at the end of their game. You can lock that up.
I like that.
Lock it up.
I like that.
I like the spirit of that. I really do. I like the spirit of that. All right, Matt, what is going to happen this weekend?
2 top 10 teams in college football will lose this weekend.
Now,
One
does
of
that
them for
count?
sure,
Does
obviously.
that count?
One for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, does that count the matchup of?
That's why I didn't say one. That would be an EJ prediction.
That's true.
One top 5 team will lose this
He ain't
week.
lying.
That's
2 top
that's how-
10.
That is how facts.
Actually, you know what? Give me 3 because I already harped on Illinois enough.
Yeah.
Let's see Ohio State lose to Michigan State. How about that happen?
Oh my God! Please God.
I'd like that. I'd
No,
be a
3 top 10 teams. It's not going to be
I'd be a fan of that. All right, EJ, what will happen this weekend?
At least my lock would be at least 3 of the 5 unbeaten teams in the NFL will go down this weekend. At least 3.
I like it. I like that. Mikey B, what's going to happen this weekend?
The Jackson Dart Heisman experience will continue. They will blow the doors off of Kentucky and prove that Georgia may not play in the SEC title game this year.
Lock it up.
Wow, a multi-layered lock. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, and here is mine. Lincoln Riley and the USC Trojans will fall to 0-2 in the Big Ten when they lose at home to the Wisconsin Badgers.
Whoa. What's the line in that game, by the way?
USC. I don't even fucking know.
You got EJ excited. That degenerate gambler inside of EJ.
Yeah,
Like,
hey.
That's something I should be touching right now.
What's happening?
You're
I didn't
nothing
even.
but a degenerate.
He couldn't
line-
smell those cookies cooking.
I'll
from
tell you
across-
what, though. Wisconsin plus 15?
15 and a half, 51 and a half.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, just
Next
seeing what I saw
EJ's like, maybe I can touch the points a little bit
on
here,
Saturday.
maybe.
Now, I don't think Wisconsin is as good of a team as Michigan, but with USC can't play Big Ten football. They can't. It's too physical, and Lincoln Riley is a bitch. So,
damn.
I will, yeah,
that took a turn.
I think this is a wake up call.
Thanks for the lead, Jim. Appreciate that.
For the no problem.
The welcome mat to the Big Ten continues.
Yeah, it's just
bitches.
It has a tough go of it.
Man.
All right, but that's where we're gonna wrap up for the week this week, guys. Sean, we'll start with you. Where can people follow you?
Well, if you're going to follow me on Twitter, you can get me at Sean Shine State, SHAWN Shine State. And if you're one of the listeners we have down here in the Sean Shine State, be careful out there this week. Got some weather coming towards us. We'll bunker down. We'll hang on tight and see where we end up on the other side. But once you get through it, there's plenty of sports on the docket. So enjoy it once you get through, but be safe until it comes.
All right, Matt.
Yep, you can follow me across all platforms at Teaching to the Choir. Not going to be on Twitter much these next 5 days until the Phillies confirm what they do in the postseason because I'm tired of arguing with dipshits. But I will be back on Sunday to celebrate with all of you when the Mets miss out on the postseason.
EJ, go ahead. Where can people follow you?
EJ Christian 7 on Twitter. Earnestly Speaking Podcast called All Podcast Catchers. YouTube.com/Ernest Christian. And that's all I got for you. Thank you.
Can you change your Twitter handle at ejaws7?
Please.
Asking for a
that
friend.
would maybe one day. We'll see.
Mikey B.
I'm really glad he didn't call it X. Thank God for that. You can follow me on Twitter at They Call Me Burn. You can listen to me and Jim talk about professional wrestling on the Take 3 Wrestling podcast. You can go over to Kyle Nash's Twitter at the SOTG. Follow his link tree there to all of his stuff. I'm not going to get all the bells and the dings and all that other stuff because all I know it's the black and gold banneret.
There it is.
Fan for sports or something.
Hilarity by default.
Yeah.
Is that still a thing?
Nah, that's not a thing.
By default.
But hey, that's a good one to check out the archive.
I will say, listen to tomorrow's show. He will have me on. We will in-depth what is actually wrong with the Cincinnati Bengals. So we will have a fun show with that one where I won't have to sit here and bang my head against the wall about championship pedigrees.
God, I love it. All right, you can follow me at Big Jim Sports, but more importantly, make sure you are following along with the show on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok at Huddle Up Podcast. We are at Huddle Up Inc. on Twitch. We are at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. on Instagram. It's not my fault. I always try to keep the brands the same across the board, but they didn't exist in some of those places. You can get our merchandise over at tpublic.com, including the Eagles Jaworski shirt. I've also revamped a few of the designs. So go check out. There's some new and updated stuff over there on the TeePublic store. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at Huddle Up Podcast. If you're already here anyway, hit the subscribe button. Ask your friends to do the same. You can also subscribe and rate and review on all podcast platforms. Until next week, when we are back here live making sense of all the craziness that I'm sure will ensue over the next 7 days. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.